You ask, are the mind and body one? And then you said something about the physicalists or materialists. They're also called reductionists. They reduce everything to material, physical matter and chemical reactions. So, yes, the answer to the first is the mind and body are one. And from what we know, uh, 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 the mind ceases to be when the body disintegrates. Well, more importantly, the mind is the body and the body is the mind. So think of it that way. The best way to think of it, I'm not telling you what to think, but from what I've learned, is that there's no separation between the mind and the body. So that's why we don't say brain and mind are separate or anything like that. We call the whole thing the brain, the mind, which is the brain is the physical processes, the physicalist part, all the cells and what they're doing and firing of synapses. And then the mind is so that's the physical part. And then the mind is our awareness of that. Our mind is our awareness as thoughts and feelings, as sensations. That's mind. Thoughts, feelings, and sensations of what the physical body is doing. So then we have mind and body, but really they're not separate. They're one. They're both expressions of the same thing that's going on. Whatever it is that's going on, a response to stimulus or whatever, is the whole mind-body response. So there's a physical layer that we're not really so aware of, that what's going on in this, we're not really aware of. We don't know, we can't see, or we're not aware of cellular transformations in the body, of course, or neurons firing, but we have a feeling, sensation, an idea of how I'm feeling, what it is to feel this experience right now, a cognitive part. So the cognitive part is awareness, is mind, and the physical is the body. So they're all really one. They're both doing the same thing. They're addressing the same event, whatever it is. So the body has a sensation. Let's say you're not feeling well, you're feeling some unease, or you're feeling sick or tired or whatever. The body, there's some disturbance in the body, some perturbation in the body. The body senses that, and through its the nervous system sending those messages to the brain, to the seat of awareness, the cortex here, then I say, oh, okay, I'm experiencing an unpleasant sensation. But it starts within the body first. The unpleasant sensation begins in the body. And then secondarily, through the signals that are sent to the central nervous system, through the spine, through the nerves, we get the bodily sensation and we say, oh, I'm aware of this unpleasant feeling. So yes, the mind and body are one. What we're saying about consciousness now is a higher order of the system. So consciousness is the organizing principle of the whole thing. In other words, there's an essence or information system that seeks to organize complexity, organize matter or physical substances into complex structures that are self-organizing, self-regulating, and moving in a direction towards development. So we find that the whole system, the whole body, mind-body system is moving towards a direction that will give us a greater sense of satisfaction. So development, like I keep saying about developing the mind, we get the greatest satisfaction from developing our potential as human beings, and we do that through knowledge. But this universal organizing principle towards self-regulation, increasing complexity, and development, and progression through development, is found everywhere in nature, in all life. All systems we find are self-organizing, self-regulatory, and progressive towards development, towards higher levels of complexity. So that is that organizing principle from the top down. It's a higher order system of information that's found throughout nature universally, in the smallest single cell to the human system, to groups of social groups, through ecosystems, through populations of people. So there's always this drive towards complexity. Now we break away from that when we're operating from fear of and a need for self-preservation, and fear drives us to excesses of greed and things like that, because we feel that we need to preserve the organism from chaos, from destruction, from fear of non-being. So that's the negative side of this selfish gene, or we say that the survival of the fittest, per se. So that's responding with a fear of the death of the organism, where the natural order of things has no fear of anything. It just knows what's good for itself as far as self-regulation and organization of complex systems and progression and development towards a higher order. So that is the driving principle. That is what the same consciousness is. That natural intelligence that moves us towards further development. So you have the mind body on one side, operating in the world and doing whatever it needs to nourish itself and sustain itself and continue the species and have children and work and live in the world. And when things are in balance, that is in balance with the organizing principle of life itself, the natural wisdom of life itself. When things go out of whack and we're living with neurosis and fear, then we get these constricted, egoic, selfish, self-centered type behaviors that are just about self-preservation of the organism based upon a fear response. So that's how it works. I don't know if that made it any clearer for you. So mind, body on one side, if it's healthy and in tune with nature, then we thrive and we have a feeling of satisfaction through our natural development. And consciousness is the higher order, part of the universal order of all things. And we are conscious. We're the expression of that, the highest expression of that we know of consciousness, of self-aware consciousness. So it's a creative principle in the world becoming aware of itself.